clapper to start, but we'll do something. Hello, Gatosters. Welcome to our second webinar. We are very excited to update you on what has been happening since our last webinar. We want to let everyone know that unfortunately, due to a technical limitation with the platform that we're using, the webinar that we're doing this evening is a closed session. The webinar we're doing is being recorded, and after it is finished, we're going to upload it, and you will all be able to watch it. Zoom has really great video conferencing capabilities. We're planning to continue to use the Zoom platform for our remaining webinars, and we've been in touch with the CEO of Zoom, in fact, to look at fixing some of these gaps in features to allow for more broad attendance and watching of our webinars live. And there are a couple features that we're still waiting for, but we are working on getting them. Our agenda for this evening is essentially, we're going to start with a question and answer session, a Q&A with our panelists who are joining us and with our Gatosk members at large. And if we have time left after that, we're going to talk about what our products are. We'll get a little bit into the grid launch date, talk about the new version of our website, version 2.0. And we'll talk about membership in DSA, the Direct Selling Association. We'll also get into Gatosk University and compliance. That is our plan to talk about this evening. Before we get into it, I'd like to introduce our panelists. Many of you may already know them, but we have two new faces joining us tonight. First, I'd like to introduce Terry Hughes. Terry is a 6-year network marketer. He is married with 3 children who are in college. He has experience serving in various capacities. Bernard is active in the military, also a family man, has been very active with us in direct marketing. Sorry, hold on one second. I think I have... All right, sorry, I was getting into Bernard's bio, but I had said Terry. So, apologies. Terry Hughes, 6-year network marketer with 3 children. 2 of his children are now in college. He has experience coaching basketball and also experience in ministry services. He got into network marketing to improve his personal finances, to build relationships, and to help build teamwork. And he is in Harrisburg, Pennsylvania.
Thank you for having me.
Anytime. Now we're on to Bernard McDonald. I've got the right bio and the right name in front of me now. Bernard is an 8-year network marketer. He is also married and has 4 children. He's been serving the U.S. Army, as we can see clearly from his uniform, for the past 15 years. So our hats off to you, Bernard, for your service. He is currently stationed in Fort Belvoir, Virginia. And so we're sort of in the same area, he and I, the DC region. Fort Belvoir is not too far outside the DC region. Bernard is also originally from Compton, California. And it just so happens that I am also originally from California. My family's from Southern California. My father was born and raised in Compton, believe it or not, out in California. So it's a small world, Bernard. So thank you for being here and welcome to our second webinar.
Yeah, thank you very much for having me along, guys.
Of course. Our other panelists are Charles Andrade.
Hi, everybody.
You may have already met Charles at our first webinar. Hey, Charles, thank you. Charles has a very long relationship with us here. Many people know Charles, been on the same team with Charles. He's been a hard worker ever since Gatosk was being built, putting together a team, having video conferences, etc. So Charles is a very, very important person. We're excited to have him here.
Thank
We
you.
also have Dawn Anderson. Dawn is also from Southern California. You can see her windows are very bright there in Southern California. She is in the West Coast time zone. The sun is already way down out here on the East Coast.
Don Newman. Yes.
Oh, yeah, I apologize. Dawn Newman. Apologies. Welcome back, Dawn. Did I miss anybody? Oh, Bill. William or Bill? I'm not sure which you prefer. William or Bill?
I'm good with either one, Gerald.
Okay, great. We'll use Bill then. Bill was here for our first webinar as well. He's got a lot of experience in network marketing. Bill also served in the Navy, if I remember that correctly. Is that right, Bill?
Correct. 20 and a half years.
20 and a half years. Wow.
21.
Very precise. Oh, sorry, 21 and a half.
Mm-hmm.
And Bill is from Raleigh, North Carolina. Charles is from Toronto, Canada. So I think that I have introduced everybody here. I also want to make sure to introduce our interpreters, our outstanding interpreters who are here. We have Gerard Williams. This is the voice that you are hearing right now in blue shirt, top corner. And we also have Karen Warwick. Thank you for being here this evening and being part of our webinar. Help facilitate communication. I want to tell you a little bit about Gatosk quickly, and we'll get into more detail later if we have enough time. But first, I want to tell you that I have really been focusing on Gatosk for more than a year now. I started thinking about this business, I would probably say in fall of 2013, specifically about implementing a network marketing company. And I wasn't sure what product I was looking to sell. I did some research, and so early 2014, I decided that it would be custom apparel and advertising. And Gatosk is really the first company that is going to use the new compensation plan that has patent pending. It's not clearly patented yet, but it is patent pending. That patent process can take up to 5 years before patents have been fully implemented. But right now, we are protected by that patent pending status in America in particular, and internationally as well. There are other foreign countries that also respect that protection. There's a total of 144. So it's very, very special for us to have that. There are not a lot of custom apparel companies out there who are also selling their products. So we are one of the first. Oh, and I forgot, I don't know how I forgot to introduce myself and Joshua. I feel like because we see each other every day, I'm so used to seeing him here. Joshua was here 2 weeks ago and is going to be here again in the next 2 weeks to focus on our database, which is a really critical piece for Gatosk. We're talking about 14,000 people, so we want to make sure that all of our tech is well in order before we go over to the new system. So very, very important person that I want to make sure that I introduce you to, Joshua Schultz. Joshua is our Chief Marketing Officer at Gatosk. He'll have an opportunity to share some brief remarks before we get started with our Q&A session, if that's all right. Joshua? Thanks, Raymond. Thanks for introducing me. I just have some brief remarks that I want to share. It's very, very exciting here. I've been involved at Gatosk since it has been around. And so we've got almost to 1,500 shirts underway here. So I have seen a lot of what the company can do. And I'm wearing an example of what your apparel can look like at Gatosk. It's really a unique product that we have here. And it's a wonderful opportunity for people to get involved. Very, very exciting things. You know, I remember I've got a photo here that I will share that was used for my daughter, Sarah. One of my first shirts. Very, very nice. Thanks, Bill. So my son is going to be next. Larry, he's a couple years ago. He would not really eat fish. So I put something together for him to remember it. He's got a fish skeleton there. You can see it. It was a really cool thing. I was looking for some text to go around that image too. I was able to put together a nice custom design for that shirt. And went to his went to school with that, and his teacher saw that shirt and said, "That's so cool. Where did you get that?" Right? And he said, "Oh, my dad's company made it." You know, which is just a really exciting thing for me to be able to be part of something that is advertising itself, that is doing a lot of that work itself. So with those, like I said, 1,500 shirts out there, I can only imagine how many Americans out in the public are looking at these things that we have created, that Gatosk has created. So thank you for being here, and I will turn it back to Raymond. Thanks, Joshua. Wonderful story. Appreciate that. My daughter also has one of her own Gatosk t-shirts with our Gatosk logo on the left-hand side. So she is very, very familiar with the company, and she has been amazed. You may know Custom Ink, the company who does a similar service where they are providing custom apparel, but they're not a network marketing based company. They have a sticker logo for their company as well. They're one of our main competitors, and that's in our refrigerator at home. And so my daughter saw that logo, and she immediately said, "Custom Ink." She said it would be, you know, she immediately recognized Custom Ink. And she said there was custom apparel immediately. And I said, "Well, how did you even know that?" You know, she said, "Well, I saw it on TV. I saw a commercial." Because it didn't say the name of the company or what they did. It said, "Oh, Custom Ink, custom apparel." How did she know that? And she said, we got to do the same thing with your company. Your company does custom apparel, custom clothes too. So we are getting there. Any of our panelists have anything to share before we get started with the Q&A session?
Absolutely, I do. This is Charles.
Charles, please.
Okay, first of all, thank you to our translators and to Raymond and Joshua for hosting a lot of the leaders in our team today. And really special thank you to Terry, Bill, Don, and Bernard for always doing an excellent job. I love you guys. And our team is growing like crazy. We're just about to breach 1,000 in Team GC. So it's just been a formidable pre-launch heading into the real launch. We've seen a lot of companies pre-launch come and go over the years, and I don't think we've been part of any company that's been set up like this with very strong leadership. You've taken your time. You're delivering the technology in a way that lets us do our job as internet and network marketers, and we're very, very happy with what we've seen so far, and we know that it's going to get better. So I would say if you're taking a look at Gatosk for the first time, jump on board. It has a beautiful tripwire starting package at only $5 per month. This allows anyone from anywhere in the world to get in and participate. The point is, get in, you can build a relationship with the people on your team, get to know your leaders, and we will show you our tactics for growing a very, very large team, which means you guys are going to have the financial freedom you're looking forward to, but also more importantly, you're going to be part of a company that I already know is going to evolve year after year. It's going to get stronger and stronger, and this is going to become a household name in the network marketing industry and in print on demand. Thank you.
Excellent. Great. Thank you, Charles. Really appreciate that positive comment. So I think we would like to move directly into our questions, and we will get started with our first question. So I and Joshua will be answering the questions as they are asked from our panelists. Shall we?
I have a question I would like to ask tonight. On the Gatosk site, when someone signs up, if the person tries to input a different referrer's name, Gerald, other than the one shown, what safeguards are there available for that?
Sure, and if I understand you correctly, you're talking about a person who wants to sign up under someone else other than the individual who originally recruited them. Is that correct? So that person is trying to put in someone else's name rather than the person who actually directed them to the site. We unfortunately have no control to prevent that from happening. And in fact, we don't encourage what we call cross-sponsorship or cross-sponsoring. However, if that person has not joined Gatosk, they have every right to decide which sponsor they would like to work with. That is their decision. Once they sign up, at that point, they cannot switch to another individual as their sponsor unless there's a particular process where there's a request and there's a particular rationale and both parties consent to allow for that transfer of that individual over to another sponsor. Again, we don't encourage that type of cross-sponsoring, although there's not a lot of control that we can exert over who signs up with whom. Does that answer your question, Bill?
That certainly does, Gerald, and I do appreciate that because a lot of times when people come to sites and they'll see that even though they write the person's name and sometimes they put someone else's name in, and that's the reason I wanted to ask, because we certainly don't want to do anything that's not by any means and do something that would injure or harm others. So thank you, Gerald, Dr. Merritt, and Joshua, and certainly the panel for all the hard work everyone's doing.
Excellent. Thanks. So now I believe it will turn over to Charles for his question. Charles?
Okay, great. So a lot of us are using mini sites, videos, and other tactics to try to bring in new members into the company. And we're finding that sometimes when people go to the pre-launch sign-up page, it doesn't indicate who the referrer is. It doesn't show their name on that sign-up page. So people might be coming to a page and just signing up to the company, and they're not getting a clear idea of who their sponsor is. Can you talk about that and let us know if that will be changed or added to over time?
Absolutely. There are two different issues along those lines. The first, from what I understand, is a cookie issue. If a person wants to sign up under a specific sponsor, but because they are using the same computer as another individual who has already signed up with a different sponsor, they're automatically going to be directed to that previous sponsor, and they may accidentally complete their sign up with that other sponsor. The second issue is in the event that an individual does not have a sponsor at all, but still wants to join Gatosk, and they don't have a sponsor, then they can select no sponsor. And that would put them in direct touch with the company, and at that point we can assign them to a sponsor. However, our current website is temporary. The new version 2.0 website which is coming, is a lot more user-friendly, a lot easier to browse and easier to sign up on. So we're hoping to avoid people being mistakenly placed under the incorrect sponsor. And that's why we have what is called a waiting tank. We call that the waiting tank. So an individual who signs up is going to initially go into that waiting tank. And sponsors are going to be able to see who is in that waiting tank. So you can see who is going to be put into your chain. And if you were expecting someone who is not there, you can certainly contact us. We can take a look at who is in the tank. And if someone was mistakenly put elsewhere, we can fix that before they get into the system officially. That's a 7-day waiting period in that tank for us to get that taken care of, for you to reach out to us, for us to correct any problems that there have been before they get placed in the 1.5 grid. And that's why that's really important for the new version of the website to have the waiting tank, so that we don't get them in the 1.5 grid in the wrong place. This is Joshua. I'd like to add to that too. And there are 7 days, as you said, but on the new website, we're going to have 7 days. But I think currently our website, we've had some problems, some bugs, so we wanted to make sure to allow up to 7 days currently as well too. Is that right? This is Raymond. Right. Some of you may be familiar with something that's called a holding tank. And many companies use these binary systems that have what's called a holding tank. In a holding tank, the sponsor themselves has some control over the placement of their downline members. That is not what we are doing. Our system is more of a forced matrix. So the computer is going to determine their placement in the downline. It's all going to be based on the next available slot. That's going to be handled automatically. So the sponsors are going to have a lot less control over where people are going. That's why we're calling it not a holding tank, but our waiting tanks. We want to make sure that people are being placed appropriately with the appropriate sponsors. Okay, excellent. Hope that answered your question, Charles. Next, we have Dawn. Dawn?
Sorry, I had to unmute that. If we upload a design, is there a cost to do that?
Joshua, you want to answer that one? Sure, the simple answer is no. It is free. It's 100% free to upload your design. You want to add to that, Raymond? Sure. The upload is free, and then if that individual who has uploaded the design and their individual work, we would have to authorize. A couple times a day, we will take a look at some of these new graphic designers that have uploaded work on our site, and we have to enable and authorize those users to show up in the store. If the person who put their design of their work online also makes an order, there is a reduced cost there because they're not paying for the artwork because they are the creator of the artwork, so they get a discount. They're not having to pay for that, whereas another individual who is ordering that same artwork is going to have to pay in addition to the cost for the apparel itself, but they're going to have to pay a nominal amount that's going to include some compensation for the individual who did that design, and that person is going to get their commission. But again, basically, to upload any artwork, there's no cost. You don't have to pay 1 red cent. Okay. Great. Terry.
Yeah, could you clarify how free members earn? And secondly, how much you earn if you're a paying member and you have a free member in your grid?
Sure, that's a great question, Terry, and it is a tough one, but I'm happy to answer it as much as I can. First of all, a free member, it depends on what you mean exactly by free member. There are a few different roles that we have in the company. A free member can be a free distributor. And in the event that we're talking about a distributor, they still are required to pay a $5 distributor fee. That is entirely separate from commissions, from the 1.5 grid, etc. All of that is separate. The distributor fee, that $5, goes directly to the company for things like maintenance, for things like operations, etc. That's the distributor fee. So it depends on how you're particularly looking at that. Those people also could be considered free distributors as they are paying that distributor fee, but they are not paying anything else in addition to that. It's like a shoe dealers and shoe stores. We don't require them to buy the shoes themselves. We encourage them to sell these products, and they are paying a fee on that, but they are not required to pay the service package fee. They can earn money, and the way that they earn money is by building their downline. Or if they happen to get lucky and they have some spillover, they can then also earn on that as a free distributor. But for those other groups of people who are free consumers, okay, if we're talking about free consumers now, web purchasers, the people who are our web shoppers, those people don't earn cash. They can't earn cash, but they can earn store credit. They earn store credit for free by recruiting other individuals to shop at the store, or again, if they happen to have some spillover, they can also earn those store credits in that particular instance. Does that answer your question, Terry? And I'm sorry, I think you had a second part to it too.
Correct. And then if you have a free member, if I'm a paying member and I have a free member in my grid, how much do you earn off of that? Is it depending upon what level you're at, how much you earn, or how does that work?
Sure. And that actually is an even trickier question. First, let me clarify that we get paid bi-weekly, every 2 weeks. The first 2 weeks, on that day that you use the system, you're going to be able to look in and see your active subscribers. And it is going to remove automatically those subscribers who are not active from that list. So they're going to be out of your report there too. It's going to be compressed to maximize our earnings. And then after that, it's going to go back to normal, right? So then you'll end up seeing your free members, all of them that are in your list. You'll see that whole download, including those, for those following 2 weeks. The pay cycle then is different. So then it's not going to be compressed. That is when your free members are really going to get their free store credit. So there's a balancing act there. The first 2 weeks, distributors are probably going to be earning more money. The following 2 weeks, those distributors might earn a little bit less to allow for those free members, free consumer members, as we're talking about, to enjoy the experience of the 1.5 grid and to earn those store credits. And really to get them hooked on the experience here too, and to make it more exciting for them, hopefully motivate them to become active members. So that is how the paid member, the paying member, is able to earn from their downline free members, and that's happening through that compression as I described. That's how you're able to get paid from having those free members in your downline.
Thank you.
You got it. And next question, Bernard.
Yes, sir. Again, thank you for having me aboard. So my question is, if a person comes in at the upper levels, will they have to, well, if they come in at the higher level, $50, $100 level, will they have to come in at the lower levels, the $10 or $5 levels, in order to earn from the matrices? Or is it just, or is it's each matrix that you pay an individual earnings? Like, how does that work?
Sure, that's a good question, Bernard. You can join Gatosk as a distributor without buying any service package, as I described. However, those who want to purchase a service package can join at any of those levels, $5 all the way up. You can join in at any level at any time, and at any time you can upgrade or downgrade your service package. It's entirely up to you. You don't need to worry about losing your spot in the 1.5 grid, and in fact, your spot in the 1.5 grid is locked in forever, regardless of whether you are a subscriber or not. That is really what is unique about Gatosk as a company. So at any time, your downgrading or upgrading is all possible. Now, if I'm upline and I'm paying $5 and my downline pays $100, but I'm only at the $5 level, I'll tell you what happens. Our computer system is going to identify that. It's going to look at both me and all my downline as if my downline is paying $5, right? So it's going to look at them as if they were paying only what I am paying, which is one of the reasons why we encourage you to upgrade. So if I'm a $5 service package, my whole downline is going to be looked at as if they are all $5 service packages as well. Now, let's say I'm up at the $50 service package. Then I've got people on my downline who are at 5, who are at 10, who are at 50. All of them are going to come in as they are. And if I get up to the top level service package, then I'm going to be able to take advantage of all of my downlines wherever they are in the matrix. Hope that answered your question, Bernard.
That did. Thank you very much.
Excellent. If you've got any more questions, I want to make sure that we answer those before we turn it over to our general Gatoskers to ask the questions that we have from them. This is Josh saying, I think maybe we should get going. Oop, looks like Bernard. Bernard?
Yeah, I had another question. Will there be a grace period for people to upgrade their memberships in the matrix? Or in the matrix, will there be a time where if they don't upgrade at a certain time, they fall off, or the matrix gets compressed? How does that work?
Good question. So those individuals who are signing up do not have any grace period because, as I said, you've got your spot locked in forever. And that's one of the things that we are really proud of at our company and that sets us apart from the competition is that we've got no pressure. You can sign up at any time and get your spot, and you're going to have the same matrix forever. However, that first biweekly pay cycle, as I described earlier, is going to be compressed out. So that's something that's not permanent. It's temporarily out, and then it is put back in. So it makes its way out and in. So no, you're not really losing much. 2 weeks or perhaps a month worth of earnings if you don't upgrade. But again, remember, those members who are paying the distributor fee are separate from our service package members. The distributor fee, if is being paid, those individuals are then entitled to earn commissions, period. People who buy service package, for example, whether it be at the $5 level, but they're also not paying a distributor fee, we look at those people as customers, right? They're not distributors, and they can't earn commissions if they're not paying their distributor fee as well. They can only earn store credit at that point.
Makes perfect sense. Thanks.
Excellent. Any further questions before we move on? Okay, Bill.
I have one more question I wanted to ask. You were talking about the distributor fee. To clarify for all those on the call and those that will be listening to the call, is that a monthly distributor fee or a one-time distributor fee?
That is a monthly distributor fee. Great question, Bill. It is a $5 monthly, and it is an auto renewal. So that's something that's going to automatically be debited, just like the service package. It's something that auto renews, or auto renewable rather. And we don't have auto ship. That's a different thing from auto renewal. I just wanted to make that clarification. Auto ship is where you're required to get something in the mail every month, and we do not do auto ship. That often discourages consumers to keep up if they're continuing to get something in the mail every month. Instead, what we're doing is offering them store credits to give them greater flexibility. So that's our goal behind that. So it's a great question. It's $5 a month. All right. Yes, Terry.
If the free members, will they be able to see the people that are in the matrix below them?
It's a good question. So if we have our free, we're talking about consumer members, what they're going to see is a simpler back-end office where they're going to be able to see their orders, track their orders, and they'll also be able to see their store credit balance. But they won't be able to see their downline. And the reason behind that is that we don't want to pressure those consumers. Some of them may not be interested in network marketing. They may simply be interested in our products, in the clothing that we're putting out, and so we don't want to have that downline displayed for them to appear as if we're pressuring them until they get to the point where they decide that they want to upgrade, or rather, when I say upgrade, I mean that they want to become a distributor, and then they'll be able to see their downline.
Okay, so if so a distributor will be able to see the people in there. If they're a free member, they'll be able to see as more and more people are coming on. They're always going to be able to see all these people coming in.
Yes, absolutely, absolutely. Distributors vary. So some distributors are going to see one genealogy tree. Other distributors are going to see two. It's going to vary. And that's because of how the 1.5 grid works, which is really what sets us apart, our unique system. It's going to vary depending upon your position and where you end up in, whether you're in the whole spot. Those who are in the whole spot are going to see a single genealogy tree. Those who happen to fall into two half spots are going to end up seeing two separate genealogy trees. But both of them have the same potential of earning commissions. There's no difference there in how that works. All right, all set. Hope that answered your question, Terry. Thank you. So we have just a little bit over 15 minutes left. I've got a total of 12 more questions. We may not make it through all of them, and that is all right. And if we run short on time, then we'll make sure to pass these forward to our next webinar. I realize that it's important that we try to answer as many of these questions as we can. A lot of people are really hungry to get these answers to the questions rather than seeing us talk ad nauseum about Gatosk and the company. So Josh is going to go ahead and answer our first question here. And Josh, if you'd also repeat it for us too. Sure. The question is, will there be an example form to show us how to fill out the launch form instead of asking for help? When we have the new 2.0 version of the website up, the form is going to be much easier to complete. And we're considering now implementing an example to show you how to put that together and how to fill out that form. So hopefully that answers that one for you. Raymond? Sure, I got this question about partners from Colombia. And the question was, through what medium or means can the people from Colombia send their money for their monthly subscription, which they need to send to America here? And through which bank could those same people who are in Colombia earn their commissions? My answer to that is that we have two accounts. We are working on a third merchant account right now. One of those merchant accounts accepts PayPal, particularly PayPal payments, and general credit cards, I think Visa and MasterCard. The other merchant account that we have is a general major credit card, which takes all four. That's Visa, MasterCard, Discover, and American Express. I'm hopeful that a lot of these individuals from other countries are going to be able to make payment to us through any of those means online, which I just outlined. In terms of how they would receive their commissions, that is something that will be processed through our third-party e-wallet platform. That's Stripe. And Stripe is very similar to other e-wallets that you may be familiar with, like iPayout, which is another larger e-wallet company, but we are particularly using Stripe. And it's a pretty well-established company. I understand that they can make those payments to pretty much anybody in the world, although we can't really guarantee that we will be able to accept payment from any and every country in the world. There are some countries that we simply may not be able to connect with. Even though during pre-launch, you can certainly build your team regardless of what country anyone may be located in, because at this point, we're not charging them a red cent, really, to join. There's no money changing hands, so it's legally fine for us to build these teams that include everyone. Now, once we do launch, there are going to be specific countries, I imagine, that we're likely not going to be able to do business with, unfortunately. Josh, next question. Sure, our third question is, how will we start subscribing to the service packages? That's a good question. Some of you may already know that there are a number of different service packages. I will explain briefly about what the service packages look like and what they include. We have credits, those both advertising credits and store credits. And those payments can be due, they're around the first of the month, or they can also move over into early in the second part of the month. This is Raymond. Right, so this is related to our grid launch, the service packages in particular. So I would like to not jump the gun here, and I'll get into that a little bit more when we talk about the grid launch, which is coming in just a few minutes. Another question I received was, will there be a 1099 tax form for the income that is earned through Gatosk? My answer to that is yes and no. That is a yes for our U.S. distributors. Those of you who are located in the United States of America, you will receive a 1099 form from us at Gatosk through our third-party e-wallet provider. Again, we will not be sending out and mailing all of those envelopes from our office. Our third-party e-wallet provider is going to take care of all of that for us and send those out. They may be mailed. They may also be sent over email. I am not entirely certain how that happens right now, but you will get a 1099 form every year in January, roughly, if you're a distributor in the U.S. International distributors, we will not be submitting 1099s to our international distributors. International distributors, you assume the responsibility to report your income to your home country. That is a responsibility that rests with you. Sorry, Josh, I switched things up here, but we want to talk about number 4, how we'll get paid? Yes, sure. How we get paid, and the answer is through our third-party e-wallet provider. As Raymond mentioned, that is something that is going to be going directly through that provider, and you'll provide them with all the information necessary in order to make those payments to you, and that will be every 2 weeks through your bank account. You can either set it up to go directly to your bank account, or you can leave it with a third-party e-wallet provider, and they can provide you with a check from time to time. Great. Josh, do you want to go ahead down to number 6, or is that one of mine? That's all right, I can answer it. Question is, when will we be able to upload our designs to the Gatosk store? That is a good question. Once the new site is together, now, of course, you're not going to be able to earn anything until the 1.5 grid is established, and that's when you're going to be able to earn your commissions, right? So that's really what I imagine people are going to want to be waiting for. So at the present time, you can certainly upload images, images of friends and family, etc. Those are things that you own. You can put them on your own customized Gatosk store, and you can get used to the experience of using Gatosk and putting together custom apparel. Once the grid is released, then you are really going to be free to run wild with your own designs rather than just using things that are simple like photos. And you'll be able to customize those and put those up in your Gatosk store for international audiences to look at and purchase. And that's where you start earning income. All your distributors will as well. This is Raymond. That's right. Very good. Excellent. So then it's back to me, I think. Am I right? The next one is a good question. So how do we know if our designs are copyrighted? This is a question I've gotten repeatedly. And the second part to this question is, what if our designs are not copyrighted? We approve and authorize every design that is uploaded to our site. course, it's not a perfect world, but we do take a look through these things to try to weed out things that are suspicious or blatant if they are already copyrighted. An individual who is uploading something, if we're talking about an independent graphic designer, so this is someone who is going to ultimately be responsible for uploading their own appropriate and either licensed or non-copyrighted content. There is a disclaimer also indicating that your artwork is required to be your own work and no one else's, that you have license to use and distribute this work and to post it. That is something that is incumbent on the graphic designer who is putting their images online. How do you know whether it's copyrighted or not? That is really something that is an automatic protection in America, the copyright, that your work is your work, so that people cannot simply steal your work. The Gatosk store, where people can upload their own work, their own images, but if someone is able to take something else from the Gatosk store, something that's high resolution that has been uploaded here, if someone's trying to take it off of our site, the only thing that they're going to be able to pilfer off of our site is a very low resolution image. The high resolution image that's used to print onto your custom materials is not accessible to individuals who may be trying to rip it off. So you are protected in that way, and it'll be easy to identify when someone is trying to use something like that because they'll have a very low resolution image. We got about 4 minutes left. Do you want to answer the question about the grid, Josh? Sure. When does the grid launch? This is the question. It is a good question and one we've gotten repeatedly, which is great, very exciting. The new grid has to wait for our new website to be in place first. Right now, we are testing the website thoroughly to make sure that we are completely satisfied with its functionality, and we'll be releasing the exact date, hopefully later this month, if not later this month, early November, perhaps the first 2 weeks of November, to launch the new website. This is Raymond. Yeah, everything really revolves around the new website. It's really 2 websites. We've got some web developers who have unfortunately been ill recently. One of our key developers has had a heart problem as recently as last week, and unfortunately we lost an entire week of work. He's a really, really key person who's been working on this project, which has pushed us out a little bit. But we have seen some mock-ups. It is looking great. The team is excellent. They're very knowledgeable. They're very skilled. They understand what we're doing here, and they're able to look at our requirements and put together an excellent site from that. So we are moving forward and very optimistic about how this is coming together and shooting again for as soon as possible. But again, we want to balance that with making sure that the site is exactly as we want it to be and open to everyone. We don't want to have any bugs once we launch. Now, if we put off the site for a few weeks, for example, then you can continue to pre-build your team. And some people have actually said, I don't want it to open yet because I'm not ready. I want to continue to pre-build my team. Now is a great opportunity to do that because you don't have to pay, as I've said, 1 red cent. You can build your team as large as you need it to get. And then once we finally open, you've got a big, robust team to help you earn. I'm going to get into one last question, and then I think we'll wrap it up. Unfortunately, I just have a few closing remarks that I'd like to share before we wrap up for the evening. First question, the last question that we've gotten repeatedly here too. Does Gatosk accept distributors who happen to be a felon or a sexual offender? Can those people sign up with Gatosk? I find it to be an interesting and good question that I've gotten repeatedly. I actually talked to our DSA, Direct Sales Association representative, who is currently reviewing us to get our membership on board there. So I reached out to them about this specific question. The response that I got was that most direct marketing companies, direct sales companies, have people sign independent distributor agreements and do not go through a screening process like you would for a traditional job, where you are going through a criminal background check, you're submitting your resume, you're being screened by a group of people. At Gatosk, in theory, any person can join and become a distributor. However, we do reserve the right to remove individuals if we find that there are serious problems that have come from damaging our company's image based on behavior, threatening behavior, individuals who may happen to be well known, whether it's as a criminal or sexual offender. People may have concerns, may contact us about that. If there are individuals who end up with a reputation in the community and start to damage the Gatosk name, and people come to us, we have a representative in our compliance department who is going to pursue and investigate any of those instances to ensure that our brand is being maintained, and that we, again, reserve that right to remove any distributors or members who may be damaging it. We are out of time, unfortunately, Josh, so I'm going to have to cut you off there. It is 9 o'clock, unfortunately. We're planning to talk about Gatosk University. We also wanted to talk a little bit more about our products, among other things, but we have run short on time. Charles, would you like to share any last words with everyone before we close up for the evening? We are, of course, again, going to have another webinar next month. I'm sorry, Joshua, do you want to share anything? This is Joshua. Yeah, I'm really excited to talk more about the role of Gatosk University next month. It's a really exciting opportunity. A lot of you know that there are a lot of folks who get into this network marketing, and they fail because they don't have access to a support system. So what we're looking at is a place that you, as a network marketer, can learn from others, so you have that support in order to be successful. This is Raymond. Great.
Can I say one more thing before you go? I know we're running over.
Yes, sure. Charles, please.
Okay, well, thank you very much. So right now, timing is absolutely critical to engage. It doesn't matter if you're new to network marketing and you have absolutely no idea what's going on, or if you're a seasoned veteran, you're able to bring in thousands of people. We are looking to work with you right now. Use October as a very strong launching pad to get this company kickstarted properly. We just don't want to start with a huge bang and then let it drop off. We are putting our people in place. You know who you are every single day, and we're building tremendous momentum. Timing is everything in business. This company is everything that you're looking for. We are going to be here, and it's just going to be so much fun, and we're going to make a lot of money together. So thank you very much. Good night.
Excellent. Thank you, Charles. This is Josh, exactly right. And we're going to put together the right support system through Gatosk University. Once that's in place, we're going to see the doors are going to open up. It's going to be success for everybody. This is Raymond. Yeah, I think really the point is Gatosk is for everyone. It's important that you have internet access. It's important that you have access to a computer or a smartphone. And that's really all you need. And if you got those things, Gatosk is for you. All right. I promised last time that I would talk a little bit more about Gatosk here, which is up behind me here, and particularly what is behind that, what that means. So I'm going to give you a little bit of that before we close, and I'll get into it a little more detail for the beginning of the next webinar. But Gatosk really is something that we have to honor a particular group of people who are historically underrepresented. What that includes deaf people, includes people with other disabilities, among other things. And again, I'm going to get into that in our next webinar too, but I wanted to share just briefly that we, network marketing companies, and particularly Gatosk, are the first network marketing company that has been founded by deaf people and run by deaf people. We do have hearing people that we work with. As for example, I've got Day right here now in my office with me, and he's a hearing gentleman who's working on the tech aspects of operating the company. He has deaf people in his family. Gatosk is really for everybody. So I just wanted to give you that little teaser to what Gatosk means, and we're going to get into it more later at our next webinar. Lastly, I want to make sure that I thank everyone for your time and attention. I really appreciate you being here with us, and I hope that you all come back next month and have some more new faces perhaps. Great. Thank you all, and have a wonderful week. Nice to meet everybody.
Night, everybody.
Good night. Thank you.